think we're live. Are we live? We're doing it live. Okay, let me just get this link out, and then we'll get started.
Cool.
Oh man, that's hilarious. We can see ourselves on the screen. Let me figure out how to share this. So when we were setting this up, we realized how big my head is in comparison to Warren's. It's an optical illusion. Do you know? All right, cool. Does our volume sound okay? Give me a thumbs up if we're okay or if we need to be louder. Warren, can you help me Facebook? Can you show me how to share this link?
The share button at the bottom. And then share to a page or to share, I don't know. Yeah.
But I'd like this link to go, to go on Twitter. Maybe you're not. Sorry guys, give us a second while we try to figure out the internet.
You can share it later.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, okay.
Figure it out. Yep.
Oh, cool.
I'll just tweet this out real quick so we can get some questions going.
Slow start, but
Slow start, guys.
it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah. Building the anticipation. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, cool. Hey everyone, my name is Jason. We're going to try not to shake this table because it's going to shake the phone. My name is Jason Shum, and I'm an animator at Riot Games. And this is our first live video, or first, maybe the last video, what I'm calling Animbreak, which is kind of like a, basically it's the point of this is to get animators and game developers like Warren here in the creative industry to kind of hear their story about how they broke in and how they got their foot in the door. Oftentimes game developers have a really unique story of how they kind of got to where they were and are, and not just whether they went the traditional route of art school or through other avenues, but I hope to give people insight into not just how they broke in, but kind of like what the pivotal moment was, and if they had any hurdles to overcome or wake up calls along the way. I know I definitely had plenty. And those are kind of like the kind of nuggets that I want to kind of pull out and hear about them. So I've intentionally kept this very casual. As you can see, no intro music, no editing, no professional microphone, because I guess I'm just trying to get to the meat of things and just kind of have a conversation going and keep it casual. This is something that I've wanted to do for a while, but I didn't have time to bring it to a high production value. And so yeah, we just do it on Facebook Live. Why not? And I hope this kind of thing serves as inspiration to people that are currently on the journey of wherever they want to go in this creative industry. So I know I want to speak on kind of like what inspired me to do this, which is like I said, I wanted to do this for a while, but just kind of as of late, seeing all the stuff from GDC, all the Anim Talks, Animation Bootcamp stuff, the awesome stuff those guys doing at Anim State. Shout out to them, and shout out to a recent podcast, Keyframe of Mind. They give a fresh perspective on things, and they've at iFrankAbney on Twitter. He's Frank Abney. I see him do these Periscope videos, and I love watching them. They're super inspirational to me, so I'm just kind of paying it forward in a way, right? And yeah, so that's really the thing I love about the animation community. It's it's so open in its information sharing and its knowledge sharing, and I want to keep that up and kind of make that serve as a model for future animators that are coming up, and to let them know that this is kind of how it is, right? And that sharing knowledge levels everyone up and makes the community stronger. So, all right. So with that out of the way, let's get going. Warren Goff, what do you do, and how'd you break in?
Hi everyone. So my name's Warren Goff. I'm the animator at Riot. So I guess my story begins. So when I was like a teenager, 15 or so, I was really into playing games, and I love Pixar movies and DreamWorks and DreamWorks movies and stuff like that. And I decided I kind of want to be in the games industry or in the movie industry in some way. And I loved animation, so I assumed it would be that. So then I kind of didn't do anything about it for a long time. I just kind of went through life. I went to, and then until I was about 18, and then I got to, I just did a game design course at university. But I spent most of my time at university just having fun and not actually doing any studying. So from 18 to 21, it was good, but didn't do anything. And then I was 21, and I was like, I still want to be an animator, but I haven't done anything about it. I didn't know the principles of animation. I didn't have any knowledge whatsoever about the industry. I've been playing all the games, but I'm watching the movies, but I still hadn't got any learning from it too much. And then, so then I decided to go back and study. So I did a master's degree in further game design. So I learned, and it's that point when I was about 22 that I discovered the animated survival kit, and that's the thing that got me into gave me the principles and the foundation of animation. But again, I was at university and I was just studying and having fun with my friends and stuff. So then I was 22 and I was still hadn't done any animation or animation reel really. And I realized that I've got to, if I really want to get into the industry as an animator, I'm going to have to stop partying and actually concentrate and do some work, right? So I was in Leeds University with my friends and stuff, so I actually quit my part-time jobs that I had and stuff I had at the time, and I moved back in with my mum, and I bought the animated survival kit, and I just started doing all the exercises in the animated survival kit for about 9 months. So I wasn't working, and I was just animating full-time the whole time. And it was kind of towards the end, it was kind of demoralizing because I was applying for jobs and not getting anywhere, and all my friends were in a different city, really. So, and I was like, oh, man, should I give up or should I keep going? What should I do? It's been 9 months, right? But then I started getting a few interviews, and I was 22 still, and I started going to interviews, and I was super cocky and super arrogant. Right, so the worst thing is I went to an interview at Ninja Theory, and we went and sat in the room, and they pulled up my demo reel, and they said, so what do you think of your demo reel? And I was like, fucking great, it's great, love it.
Thanks.
And they said, what do you think you can do? They were like, okay, okay, this guy's like, all right, what do you think you can do to make it better? And I was like, it's perfect, perfect. I couldn't. And in fact, obviously, I look at it now and it's full of mistakes, right? But at the time, I was just like, nah, it's great. And then, so I had a few interviews where the feedback from the interviews was very humbling, right? They were like, he was arrogant, he's cocky, whatever, right? And
so they gave, after the interview, they
gave
you feedback.
The recruiter feedback, yeah.
Okay, cool.
And so, the recruiter gave me this, and it was very humbling to get that feedback and realize I'm not great,
Yeah.
Because I thought I was good, but I wasn't, kind of thing. And then so anyway, in the end, I was 23 now, so I spent nearly a whole year unemployed, living at my mum's house and just animating at home pretty much every day. But I finally got an interview at Crytek in Germany, nice. And this was kind of December time or something. So I don't know how much longer I could have kept up the unemployed thing, but yeah, I finally got an interview at Crytek. Went over there. Super nervous because of the past interviews didn't go so well. So I went dressed up super smart, even though everyone else is really casual, so I looked like an idiot. And then I remember the animation director, Stephen Bender, was like a really confident outgoing guy. And I remember sitting in the room, we had the interviews, and he was like, okay, have you got any more questions? And I was like, oh man, just I was just gabbing, and I was like, oh, I could ask questions all day. And he was like, okay, please, I'm here. And I didn't have any questions, so, I was just sat there like, oh God, what am I meant to do? So I just tried to come up with some, but anyway, those guys, I was 23, and I finally got a job as a junior animator in Crytek in Frankfurt. So I had to move from the UK to Frankfurt, and I was there for 3 years in the end. And so the journey to get there wasn't super easy. I guess I didn't do anything about my what I wanted to do for ages, and then I just did like a whole year of just super focused, trying to get better at animation thing. But then when I got there at Crytek, I was put on a really good team with really good mentors, and those guys gave me an amazing foundation for my understandings of body mechanics and the animation principles. I was hand keying aliens on Crysis 2, and they were just super. I got like very, very strong feedback, very, very good mentorship, and in those first few years as well, I bought every animation book. I did loads of more tests. I watched all the Keith Lango and Jason Ryan videos, and all of these were like super constructive for me. And then I also did an iAnimate course, one of the workshops for the feature class, the body mechanics one. So yeah, those first 3 or 4 years were like non-stop, constantly doing stuff at work, and then going home and doing more stuff, Oops, sorry, but it helps. It all paid off in the end.
So I actually, that's with iAnimate, definitely want to shout out iAnimate podcast. I love those, what Larry's doing over there. To kind of follow up on, like, when you were actually in school, you were studying game, like that was your major, was game design, right?
Yeah. So it's game design, so it was a bit of everything.
Okay,
a bit of programming, modeling, rigging, a bit of animation, but I didn't really concentrate at university. I just kind of messed about.
So when would you say is like the kind of point where because you got the Animator Survival Kit,
yeah,
and then you kind of started turning to animation, but
it was when I'd finished all my studies. I finished my degree,
okay.
I finished my master's degree, and I was like, I want to be an animator, but I don't know anything about it. So how do I fix that, right? So I could either I could stay in Leeds and keep working my like part-time jobs, or maybe I could get a job in something, but it wouldn't be animation, right? And I could work on my demo reel over like the next few years or something. But I just kind of was like, I just thought at the time, if I don't do it now, because I had no real responsibilities then, I don't know how I could have done it. So yeah, just quitting everything and just moving in with my mum and being unemployed. It was tough, but it gave me the focus I needed to work on my demo reel. I'm not saying everyone should do that, obviously, but yeah. So books and everything, Keith Lango.
So I'm curious, when you were going through school and you were studying game design, was there a point where you I guess I should
do it.
Were you was it because you were bad at game design and it was tough to find a job, or was it more like I'm okay at game design, but I don't have the passion for it?
No,
I'm feeling like I need to find my passion somewhere else.
I was an idiot. I just was drinking with my friends. I moved away from my family, and I met loads of friends, and I was like just getting drunk and being very irresponsible. And then at the end of all that, I was like, I should have used the time responsibly. And I learned a lot. I did learn a lot from like the game design course. Obviously, I learned about the whole pipeline, right? Mm-hmm. But nothing in depth. So I didn't come out with one major, right? It was all just kind of bits and pieces of information. But so overall, it was good, and it gave me a taste of flavor for everything. And in the end, out of that, I did decide animation was my focus, I guess, and not programming or things like that. But yeah, looking back, could have probably been a bit more focused. Maybe I wouldn't have been in that boat.
So let's say you were focused from day one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're in the game design program. Do you think you still would have found animation, or would you have, because you were so focused, you would have been focused on game design, which would have meant you would have continued to get better on that?
when I say the game design course, the course itself is called game design, but
Okay, so game development then.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
It was game design, animation, programming. It was everything,
Okay.
you know. And by the end of it, you build a game, effectively.
Okay.
So yeah, it was educational in some ways, but I didn't take advantage of it like I should have. But then it bit me, you know. That's why afterwards I was like, oh, I have to spend a whole year working on my demo reel.
I think that's like I don't know if I should say it's common, but it seems like something that I've heard is like I've experienced the same thing as well. You kind of you know, you go into school and you have X amount of days, like 4 years sounds so far away, or 2 years sounds so far away, and you're like, I have so much time.
Yeah.
But you know, it goes fast, especially you know, especially when you maybe you're going to school close to home and you got your buddies real close, and you know.
I know people who didn't go to university. They did that path. They didn't go to university or college or anything. They just started animating mods, you know. And they like Rory Allerton, who works here. Yeah. So he was animating mods for Max Payne, I think.
Oh, cool.
And then he went that way, you know, different paths, but
yeah. Well, it's interesting because you went the traditional school route, but your real education in a way happened after, right? Like it was like and I find this a lot where like people need like a sense of urgency.
Oh yeah.
To like really, because they have it in them, right? But when there's nothing at stake, it's like, so for you know, like
I guess I came out of university and I was facing my options, and animation wasn't one of them. Right. And I wanted that, right? So I guess that's what I had to do.
So when you were, you know, you're feeling a little low after school and you decided to really throw yourself in animation, can you talk about like just, was it, you know, obviously it's just grinding, it's just putting in the work in, but like what was your routine like? Like how did you even like get started in a way, right? Like
so animation, I bought the Animator survival kit, and I just every day just went through like the walk cycle, the run cycle, the pushing a heavy object, pulling things, jumps, like throwing a ball, whatever it was, through the whole book, you know, quadruped
awesome.
stuff. I tried to do that.
That's so awesome.
And at the time I was also using that as, you know, using the internet as well to find more examples and stuff like that, but slowly developed a reel which you can find somewhere, like my reel from 2008, which is...
Can we post that? We'll post it and we'll compare it. We'll be side by side with...
Yep.
Warren just put out a reel yesterday, and it's fucking amazing. But yeah, it's always interesting to see kind of where your roots are.
But then, like I mentioned, though, it wasn't the doing that year. It was when I got the job, the support and the mentorship from everybody around me, and then subsequently through my career, like working with other animators, is where you get the inspiration and the skills and the passion and all that stuff.
Right. Okay. Cool. So I love that, like that you just like straight up took the book and just started, because like I you know, I haven't done it, and I always thought it was like you know, I would take certain examples and cherry pick certain things, right? But this is an example of like not necessarily practicing what you preach, but like when a student asks me like, how do I get better at animation, and they might not necessarily have the resources to like, you know, move or take certain classes, whatever. I just tell them to basically take the Animator Survival Kit, start at page 1, and just copy the whole thing, right? Just like there is no shame in, I mean, for me, it's no shame in like tracing just copy it, right? It's not like you're putting on your reel, right? No. You're just trying to get better. You're learning. Yeah, you're learning. You're trying to understand how, because you can only get so much when you're just looking at the book and really, I mean, you get a lot from it, right? But when you actually apply it and like copy your favorite animation, copy your favorite sequence, the Animator Survival Kit, like obviously it's hard to like you know, I didn't even do it, so I can't expect someone that I'm telling them to do that as well. But that's such a like a. You know.
I think the Illusion of Life as well. I had those two, the Animator Survival Kit and the Illusion of Life. I had those books. Yeah. But yeah, you don't. It just teaches you the principles and the basics and everything, and then over time, the more you do it, the better you get slowly, and the more you understand things and whatever. But it's definitely, if you don't want to do for people who are interested in animation and they don't want to sign up for a course or a university degree or whatever, it's like a $30 book.
Yeah.
You just buy the book, it's $30. You can get free rigs, free a Maya license as a student license, and you can just, you know, spend a couple of months trying it out, and if you like it, great, keep going, you know.
Yeah, that's a great point. You had the perspective of like having gone through like a game development type course, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're looking at the illusion of life, because I'm always like, the illusion of life is the fundamentals of animation, but then there's this other kind of part where like game animation per se, and kind of tailoring that to kind of be more presentable to a studio, right? Mm-hmm. So like, I think that can be tough for students too, where they like can look at the illusion life or something like that and do some stuff, and then maybe they're not necessarily like a hardcore gamer, but they're interested in the games industry, and that's totally cool. So it's like they want to go that way, and
that's true.
Their reel consists of you know, little acting pieces and little body mechanic stuff. How did you know, or did you know to like be like, I'm gonna take what I did and kind of gamify it, or like make it more game studio friendly? Because that's always kind of a stumbling block for certain animators.
So I guess my strengths lie in body mechanics, not acting. Right. So for me, games is actually more preferred because I enjoy like doing or trying to do complex body mechanics pieces, like, you know, walks, runs, attacks, cycles, whatever. And whereas the acting stuff, I really struggle with. I did a course, an Animate course with acting stuff, but it was fantastic. I'd love to do more of it and actually get better at doing that to help me here at Riot, because it probably helped me, you know, get better characters out and stuff. But my preferred style is the body mechanics and the physical stuff. So I think for me that just helped me go towards games, I guess.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Like I for whatever reason, I felt more comfortable, or I felt like I kind of grasped the body mechanics.
Yeah. It's more logical.
It's more logical. Yeah. It's like you can just look at something and you know, that's kind of the first thing that you're trying to build a layer on, right?
And if it looks right, it looks right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, if it looks believable, the weight looks believable.
Right.
Okay, great.
It's less subjective in a way, right?
Potentially.
And I think if you are like I found when I was doing it, I was like, I actually really enjoy doing this, like tailoring a more like maybe a dynamic fight sequence versus like a heavily acted something, right? And I guess like for me that kind of was the same kind of way. Like the path was kind of cleared out for me to kind of be more on the game side.
On the flip side, I look at like when I watch DreamWorks and Pixar, I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, you're just like, oh my god, how?
Because they do both.
Right.
They do the physical and the acting stuff. All in one sometimes, and you're just like, how do they do all of that?
They're doing what we're doing,
but better.
And then with more complex layers, I feel like, right? I mean, not like, there's like technical layers of game development and stuff like that, but like, you know, I think it's you know, I think it's kind of true when it's just like, you know, there's a craft aspect of that's like, you know, very like, it's just very craft heavy, and you have to be like awesome, right? And so yeah. Do you have anything to add while you're breaking in stuff? I like the story. It was
no.
It's good.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right. So I basically want to keep this to like, you know, less than 5 questions, right? So like,
shoot.
The next question I want to ask you is, you know, I talked about it at the beginning, like what's inspiring me these days, and which is like kind of like just doing this is nerve-wracking for an introvert like myself, but I just did it because I'm inspired by what I've seen lately and everything like that, and the need to knowledge share, which I love doing at work as well, right? And you know, we have these kind of these inspirations that kind of are like more overarching, like I want to be an animator here, I want to be a thing here, and that's like something that takes years, right? So there's those kind of goals, but then there's like inspirations that are daily and weekly, and they fluctuate and they come in and out. Like you can be inspired by something for 2 weeks and then kind of drop it because that's what you needed. Like you had enough value from it and you move on, kind of thing. So like for me, it's like I kind of leave it open, and I guess what's inspiring you these days, right?
So yeah, there's two. One is I just love sci-fi movies and sci-fi books and fantasy as well. So I love watching like I don't know, like the Marvel like Avengers movies and stuff with all the fight scenes, everything, the choreography and the action of that stuff. I love watching how they animate those things and get the weight and get the cool poses and all that stuff. So that's why I love watching that stuff and getting inspired by that. And then I don't watch a lot of it, but I'm trying to watch more like anime, because that's always got really cool poses and like crazy
amazing
smear
poses,
frames and stuff. Like I want to try and watch more of that and frame by frame through it. It's finding the time, because I'd love to get like a huge collection of videos and frame by frame through them and just be like, wow, how do they do this thing, you know? Yeah. But oftentimes I don't get that much time to focus because I'm always trying to do other stuff. But I'd like to do more of that. But then just sci-fi in general is awesome. And then working on champion team, Riot, each champion is different, so I have to find a collection of references and inspiration for that champion whenever we start.
Right. Yeah.
So so every time I go through whatever how many months it is, I go through different chunks of finding different references and influences and stuff.
Nice.
But frame by framing through stuff, you should do that because it's awesome.
I totally agree with I frame by frame through, like if I see something on YouTube,
nice.
I'll just like rip it through like some, downloading page and then how is it legal? I don't know. Should I have noticed? I'll just watch it on YouTube. And take a picture of every frame.
I think there's a website that is you can put the YouTube link in, and then it has a different player that lets you frame by frame through.
Okay, yeah.
That's what you do, right?
What I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there's also an extension on Chrome. GIF Scrubber, have you played around that?
No.
It's so awesome. Like
okay.
Actually, it's not necessarily for YouTube videos, but like GIFs, they're so you're just like you're watching it loop because you're trying to catch that one moment, right? Like for inspiration, like that pose. So like if you install the GIF Scrubber extension, you can actually load that GIF with like playback, and you can frame by frame through it and stuff.
Shit! That's
I'll
awesome.
have to send it to you. I'll send it.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people know, but I'll put it in the notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially like anime stuff. Maybe
that would be amazing. Yeah,
that stuff I can't even like wrap my head around in terms of the posing and stuff and how it, super inspirational. But cool. So give me next question. Give me an Anon tip that you have heard or found out or whatever recently. Just a recent Anon tip.
I have two that I've got currently. So I have at various times I relearn stuff that I learned before, and maybe because there's a lot of things to constantly track when you're animating. But one of them is we recently at Riot they recently hired a guy called Johan who is amazing.
Badass.
And he gave me a tip, so I'm going to spread the tip. So it's not my tip; it's his tip. But when you're if you track arcs in the Maya scene, you can put you can do the motion curves thing in Maya, right, to track a limb or something, but it only tracks the translation and not the rotation of things. So for instance, if you track the head, you'll see all the points where it moves to, right? But maybe the head's rotating through that motion, so you'll end up, so the nose, for instance, might have an arc which is all jaggy. So his tip is to just get like a whiteboard marker and just literally just set your camera and just literally frame by frame through and draw on a piece of geo, like the nose or the ear, whatever is in whatever the focus is. And then just draw literally on the screen, the dots, and then just fix your poses, and then just clean it off.
Nice.
That is for polish, super helpful, because you can do all your arcs, you can do all the motion curves and all that stuff in Maya using the Maya tools, but just for tracking things from rotations is awesome.
Nice. Yeah. I love that tip. It's
probably like a super old tip.
no, but it's worth a reminder because it's like I know people that would put I don't know what those sheets are, like kind of like the see-through sheets, and they put it on top of the monitor.
Oh yeah, that would be
just kind of rub it off.
Better.
Because
for
whatever reason, IT might get pissed off.
Yeah, do that. Like that. Yeah, that's better.
I did that in school with a one of those dry erase markers.
Okay, yeah.
And like somebody totally freaked out on me because they thought I was like Sharpieing the monitor.
Oh yeah. The other one more thing is so my computer at home is not super good. It's not super quick or anything, right? So if I'm doing personal stuff at home, the frame rate isn't great. So I end up I do some changes. So I start getting into the rhythm of making play blasts, like really often. Like every time I do some changes, I'd make a play blast. And instead of reviewing it in the viewport in Maya, I review it in a play blast, because the frame rates never drop, right? Because in Maya, I'm looking at it and I think it's cool, but instead of 30 FPS, I'm getting like 27 or 26, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm missing important information. So if I make a play blast, it's clearer. So then I can scrub through it easier as well. Nice. And really track like, oh, there's a problem here, whatever. So
yeah, good to
that's my tip. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Another thing I discovered recently.
Cool. You mind? You feel like taking some questions?
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna just do a couple and just see how this goes.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see how we go. We had a question from was it Tyler yesterday? Let me find it here. Tyler at Dr. Flapjack. Question: have you ever hit a plateau in your animation skills, and how did you move past it?
Yes.
Yes, definitely yes. Everyone, yes.
I think all the time. Yeah. I feel like I'm
every
always,
day.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever moved past it. No, I think it's. I think you just need to get out of your. If you're feeling like that, you just need more eyes, more feedback, more other perspectives. Like working in a silo is not a good idea. Like the only way I've managed, in my opinion, the only way I've managed to improve over the years is by working with other animators who give me feedback, who push me into new areas, give me new ideas. Like if I get stuck and if I'm like, oh, Jason, check this animation out. I can't figure this thing out. Just bouncing ideas back and forward might end up figuring out a couple of solutions, right? Mm-hmm. And even just and then what we do is like maybe your colleague is someone you work with or your friend or whatever who's an animator. They can look at your stuff and say, you need to watch your spacing, right? And then you get that same feedback 3 or 4 times and you're like, oh, maybe I should focus on spacing, right? So I think it's just definitely get eyes on your work, get feedback, and look for patterns in feedback as well, because then you can improve. You can focus on those areas and improve those, you know? And it's kind of like, it's not just one pillar of like animation, I'm going to improve. There's like loads of different pillars, of artistic pillars. There's timing and spacing, posing, and like blah, 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 blah. I can't remember right now, but you know, you kind of have to keep slowly nudging each one up separately. That's kind of the way I think about it. So trying to focus on all of them would be like overwhelming, right? Yeah. So just pick one, you know, for a month. I'm going to improve posing this month, and the next month I'm going to improve spacing, because it'll all carry on. It will carry over, you know.
That's a great tip.
That's my
no, that's good.
Because I mean, if it's a career, as an animation career, you're going to be doing it for 40 or 50 years, right? So there's no rush, you know. You spend a month getting better at spacing, and then the next month getting better at arcs or whatever, right?
So let's say you are a student, mm-hmm. and you are you're the only animation student in your school. Everyone else has decided to go into environment art or something like that,
okay.
Right? And so you don't have that.
Yeah.
You don't have those eyes near you. I guess you gotta hit the online resources hard, right?
Is it like Polycount, like ArtStation, and you could always try and contact animators who are working in the industry and be like, hey, would you mind giving me feedback on this thing? Mm-hmm. You know, don't be too pushy, because you know maybe they're busy or whatever, but you could try that. You never know.
Yeah.
You know, or just share it. 11 Second Club, they have a forum for this. You know, you can go on that and share your work out and see if people can give you feedback and stuff. So. Yeah.
I'm trying to like unpack the question more, because maybe there's more context to it. So like, obviously those are kind of like, you know, best practice things to do. Is like, hey, you know, if I get fresh eyes on it, but like hitting a plateau in your animation skills. I don't know. I guess for me, it's like,
maybe I just thought maybe it's because, okay, you get a job as an animator and you're doing the same thing for 3 years. You might have plateaued in other areas of your animation. You're really good at the one thing, but other areas you're weaker, right? So you might feel like you plateaued. Is that maybe that's part of the question?
Possibly, yeah. Like I kind of related to. There was a point in my career early on when I wasn't super dedicated. You know, I'd gone into the industry and I was like, it was a fun studio, lots of fun people there, and the kind of studio where, like, you know, when you're at a certain age and everyone's at a certain age, that's like, you know, everyone has that kind of studio where like there was that party time maybe, and oftentimes, and then, you know, everyone grows up and, you know. But you always have that time where you're like, man, back at that studio, we were all, that was the time, right? And so for me, that was the time where I plateaued, actually, because I was just like having so much fun, just hanging out with people at work and not necessarily like trying to level up my craft. That wasn't the highest priority. So that was my plateau where, you know, I felt like I was doing acceptable work, and it was acceptable for the game, and people were like, yes, that is acceptable, good, you know, good job, thumbs up. And but that gravy train kind of ended, right? Like the studio closed down, and all of a sudden you're just acceptable, right? And maybe acceptable isn't good enough.
It's humbling.
Very humbling, right?
Humbling.
And for me, it was like there's always. It's good that like Tyler, like, you know, maybe you're asking for yourself or somebody else, but like it's good to recognize when you've plateaued, because some people plateau and they don't realize it, right? Like whatever reason. We've all seen animators where the industry catches up to them and they're, you know, not leveling up their craft as much anymore, and it just happens. But it's good to be conscious of it, right? And then when you are making changes to address that. And for me, the change came to me. I didn't make the change. Like the studio shut down.
You had to.
Oh yeah, and all of a sudden it's like I said, that sense of urgency from school, right? Yeah, and but if you can kind of get ahead of that, and you know, not everyone has this luxury, but maybe it's the job that's plateauing you, right? Maybe it's the project that's plateauing. Maybe you're on a sequel or part 3 of something, and you've kind of like. You can do this particular thing from the back of your, like you know it, you can do it in your sleep, right? And maybe it's time to make that change, right? And
one more thing, you could try something new as well. Like if you have spare time, you could do a completely different style of animation. Try like a cartoony thing. Try like some quadruped stuff. Try animating a dragon. Maybe that will give you more inspiration, more ideas. Maybe you'll learn something new.
That's less. That's less drastic. Don't quit your job. What I said. So
don't do that.
Yeah, that's better advice. So I got a question here from. I thought I saw a question from Jeremy. Jeremy Collins. What's up, Jeremy? Shout out to Jeremy. He's an anime instructor.
Oh, cool.
Awesome guy. So he's question: How did you do those geosmears in the Vimeo Combat Anims? Is it a blend shape on the sword and staff? So I think he's talking about those awesome samurai things.
The Hiroshi animation test we did.
So if anyone hasn't seen them, check out Warren's Vimeo channel. He's got these like awesome like kind of motion combat tests. And just like I've personally downloaded them and frame by frame through them, and like the spacing and just everything is just on point. So how did you do those?
The geo, so that was painstaking because I made a collection of shapes first of all, like geo shapes where they're like different size smears. Like there's like a narrow one, a thicker one, and a really fat one. There's a double smear, which is like.
Do it.
there's like, as you can see it.
Yep.
Yeah, there's like, I did this kind of shape, and then there's
Here,
one
try a green marker if you can. Or I don't know, maybe, can you guys see that?
That's pretty, I don't know if you can see it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I had like a double shape like this, obviously with the jagged lines on this edge and stuff. And I had like, and then I had like a narrow one, and then I had one that was like three shapes and whatever. And I made a big bunch of shapes like this, and then I had to attach it to the staff or the sword or whatever. And then I, frame by frame, was like unhide them, rehide them, duplicate them, stretch them in different shapes if I needed to. And at the very end, I did a pass where I animated them all to camera, so I would actually rotate them all and stuff like that. So I don't know how many of these were in the scene by the end of it, because I was just duplicating them as I needed them as I went. But it was just like get the shapes and frame by frame through it and be like, I'm gonna do. The faster it went, as it went quicker, I would go from like two pieces like this to 3, and then 4, and then back down to 3 and 2 and stuff like that. And then with the sword, because it was just this was the staff example, because the staff is like a long stick. But with the sword, because it was just the pivot point was down here by the hand, this was the same thing, but just half of those basically. And you can see that.
So you basically have, like, you're kind of juggling a lot of different
Geo
animating and like just on and off and kind of hiding and unhiding and all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's cool.
And I did that for all those tests that have those geo. Yeah,
nice.
It took ages, but it was worth it.
The results
and then
were awesome.
I tried. There's one I never published, which was the guy in the same. It's the same guy in the combat test, and he was doing like really fast punches. And I was using like smear frames where I copied the fists and the arms, and I would like change the shape of them and stuff. And I never finished it because I never felt happy with it, but that was the most painstaking. These were easy because it was like big smear frames, right? But like trying to do more intricate ones I found super tough. But yeah, that's
cool. Did you find like that there were certain shapes that were more like how did you kind of arrive at these particular shapes?
I found examples of just other people's work where they'd done similar stuff.
Yeah, just like appealing stuff.
Yeah, appealing shapes. So then I just referenced their shapes, and if I needed to edit them, I would, kind of thing. But yeah,
nice.
It's okay to copy stuff for learning.
Right.
For learning, if you want to learn stuff, copy people's stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna do smears and try to do like effects type work.
Oh, you go.
Okay. Back. Sorry, I got a phone call. I thought we'd lost everything. Then I would just, I would be referencing effects reels and effect shots and trying to find the best appealing shapes, just like finding a pose, right?
Yeah.
Somebody wrote, "Oh man, did we lose it?"
No.
No, there was something here. Sorry, I forget. Here, I'm going to scroll back here. Niels asks, should I learn to code, write scripts if I want to become an animator?
What do you think?
What do you think? I think we probably have the same answer, right? But yeah, you're the guest. You should answer this.
So I can't do anything else but animate. I can't do any rigging or scripting or programming or modeling or rig. I can't do anything else. I can just animate. So I'm very fortunate in that I've managed to land roles, positions, and jobs where I don't need to do other stuff like that. So I've been able to focus on animation, but I imagine that that's not going to fly for that long, and I actually will need to do my rigging and scripting at some point. So if you want to be an animator and do, you should probably primarily focus on animation, but understanding rigging and scripting and stuff like that is going to be beneficial, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because some places they need you to be more of a generalist, right? So
yeah, I think it really, your question really depends on like where you want to be and what you want to like. If you want to be like just like craft-wise the best animator you can be, then that's a daunting task enough that you need to put X amount of hours in to do that. But if you, it's really hard to answer the question because it's like, there is no absolutes, right? We're just giving our opinion here, but like there's with indie games and small, medium tier studios out there, which there are a ton of,
Yep.
right? If you are like just this really craft heavy animator that's for lack of a better term, one dimensional, right? Maybe your work is awesome and you come down to the final, like they've looked at your reel, they've filtered everything down, and it comes down between you and somebody else who's not as strong in animation, but they're at Riot we use the term T-shaped, right? It's like being very knowledgeable in one discipline, your own discipline, but being fairly
Knowing some other stuff.
Yeah, knowing some other stuff on the other disciplines. And if you are like a strong T-shaped artist where you can rig and do some script work and stuff like that, you're up against somebody who's just a craft animator, and maybe they go with the person who is not as strong as an animator but can wear more hats. Right?
Depends on the job requirements, right, as well.
Right.
So yeah, it's variable. It's dependent. I think you hit on the point. It depends on what you want out of your career and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you can do, you can always add things on as you go over time,
And it's I don't know too many studios that I've been at where like that's not a benefit, like
Yeah, it
even
would definitely
like
be a benefit.
yeah, like even with current work, it's like if you can unblock yourself,
Yeah.
that is like the best. Like if you're just sitting there and if you're like I can't work because this rig needs a parent space, or I need the IK switch, and it's like I'm just gonna sit here and I'm just gonna wait for tech art to handle that. It's like no, that's not like if you can unblock yourself and you can do it yourself, it's like man, you just like you're providing value not to your own animation department but to the rest of the departments, because they know that you're competent. You're not going to sit there and like rig something from the start. You don't necessarily need to be that, right? So your question being, should I learn it? Yeah, sure. Like it's like that's a great thing to do. Like, do I have to learn it? Maybe not necessarily, right? But in terms of like being more employable, I feel like
It wouldn't hurt.
Wouldn't hurt.
Right?
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt.
Right?
Why not?
Yeah.
Take a couple hours, learn it.
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, and it's kind of like, it really depends who you ask, and it's like, the bigger the studio, obviously, the more specialized you are, so, but then again, that's not always the case either, so I'm just saying.
I think we just covered everything, just so...
Yeah, we just totally covered our bases, so we're not. There was it's kind of scrolling a little bit, so let me just kind of do this here. Cameron, you asked, Cameron Smith, you asked, was this learned in school or while working? Are you talking about the samurai stuff that Juan was talking about? Maybe you could follow up on that. I'm not quite sure.
Is it on this here?
Well, it already scrolled by on here.
Oh, okay.
But I can actually scroll back here. I think that's it for...
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Niels had a follow-up. This will be our last question, okay? So
Okay.
Niels had a follow-up, which is if I would attend a big event, GDC, etc., and I have a chance to speak to Great Animator, what do I say to impress that person so I'll be remembered? Do I just shove my demo reel into their face? Yeah, you're at a conference, well, in GDC, whatever, and you got your reel, you got a portfolio, whether it's on your phone or your iPad. You recognize an animator, or you see an animator, and that's somebody that you recognize from either online.
Okay.
How do you approach them? How would you want to be approached?
I'm just thinking about it depends on if they're there as a... Yeah, it's hard, because if they're working there, they're going to see hundreds of people at an event like this, right?
Right.
And if they're not working there and they're just for fun, then maybe they don't want to be like too hassled, I guess. But I don't know if it's about being remembered or not, but I think it's ultimately comes down to like to your work as well, right? It's like if you're a nice guy and your work speaks for itself, then why not? Why wouldn't they remember that? And then because it's not. I don't think it's. You can't just be like, I'm great. I'm gonna put. I'm you know. I'm gonna. You're gonna remember me. Punch them in the face, and they remember you. But because ultimately it comes down to they you know, if you're talking about getting a job out of it, it comes down to your work still, right? They're still going to look at your demo reel. They're still going to look at your skills and your CV or whatever, right? You know, so just try and just. I think I remember people from their work. I guess is what I'm saying. When I look at when I see demo reels or whatever, or even online, I'll see a demo reel, and then 3 or 4 years later, I'll meet the person. And I'll be like, I remember your work. It was amazing. So. Yeah, so I'd say just try and just focus on, like, if you want to be like, you know, you can approach them and be like, hey, can I show you my demo reel, you know? Just do it in a nice way, you know, they'll probably be fine with it. Yeah, and then put the effort in the reel, I guess.
That's, I like that, yeah, definitely. I think you can only go so far in a face-to-face meeting, right? And if you're just remembered as somebody who's like, you know, just a nice person to talk to, and you know, I don't think it's wrong to basically, if you feel like you get that good rapport, then you could be like, hey, what do you, if you're not in a rush, you know, would you like check my room? I don't know. Maybe.
Or you can give a business, if you haven't got time, can I give you a business card maybe?
Yeah.
And you can do it later time or something. I appreciate it, you know, like.
Because I'm the same way. I remember, because you know, sometimes you meet a lot of people and faces can kind of blur, but when you see work, you remember work, right? And you're like, oh, like, I totally recognize that. There's a lot of animators that I have never met, and if I saw them, I'd be like, I remember, I know your work. I know that shot on your reel. I want to ask you about that shot, kind of thing. So it's
you're
like
the guy that did the thing I saw 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, just that's it. I think we
That's cool. Yeah.
we
10 minutes.
I was insane. I thought this was gonna be 10 minutes, but yeah, we're going on like 45 minutes or something like that. But hopefully, you know, this was good, you know, good value and something that you'd want to see again. I would like to kind of I love hearing about animators' origin stories and how they get started. And
you're thinking of more people, right?
Yeah. I would like to try get a just because of my vicinity to other animators right now. It's like you know, maybe another Riot animator, but I'd like to just kind of you know, just hear breaking in stories. Everybody's got such a unique one. It's just awesome to hear. So Warren, thanks, man. All right, thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate it. If you want, you know, throw us a like, or throw me a like or a follow, and that way you can kind of get up to date on the next one, and you know, follow up questions as well. All right,
cool.
Thanks everyone.
See ya.
See ya.